It's late at night, and you're alone in a dimly lit room, staring into an antique mirror. The air feels heavy, the silence oppressive. You catch a glimpse of movement in the glasser shadowy figure behind you, reaching out, heart pounding. You spin around, but the room is empty. The mirror shows only you now, yet the chill lingers. Was it a trick of the light, or something more sinister? In Agatha Christie's They Do It With Mirrors, Miss Marple steps into a house where reflections hide deadly secrets, and every smile conceals a lie. Join me as we unravel a mystery so twisted it'll keep you guessing until the final frame. Dare to look into the mirror with us. Let's begin. Imagine a place where good intentions mask dark secrets, where a house built on hope becomes a stage for crime. That's where we begin in They Do It With Mirrors, a classic Agatha Christie mystery featuring the sharp-eyed, unassuming Miss Marple. In this first chapter, we're stepping into the world of Stonygates, a sprawling English estate that's part home, part reform school for troubled boys. It's a place of second chances, or so it seems. Our story kicks off with Miss Marple visiting her old friend Carrie Louise, a woman whose kindness is as boundless as her trust in others. But as we'll soon see, trust can be a dangerous thing. Let's unpack the setup of this suspenseful tale, meet the key players, and start piecing together the puzzle that Miss Marple will solve. Ready? Let's go. Stonygates is no ordinary manor. It's a hybrid of Victorian grandeur and modern idealism, owned by Carrie Louise and her husband, Louis Sericold. Louis is a reformer obsessed with rehabilitating young delinquents. The house buzzes with activity boys learning trades, family members drifting through, and staff keeping the chaos in check. But beneath the surface, something's wrong. Miss Marple senses it the moment she arrives. Carrie Louise, frail but warm, seems oblivious to the tension around her. Her family, though, is a tangle of odd personalities. There's Mildred, her dour daughter, Gina, her vibrant granddaughter, and Walter, Gina's restless American husband. Then there's Stephen and Alex, Carrie Louise's stepsons, both theatrical and secretive. Add in a few quirky house guests and Louis's intense assistant, Edgar, and you've got a powder keg waiting for a spark. The suspense starts early. Miss Marple, invited by her friend Ruth, Carrie Louise's sister, arrives with a nagging feeling. Ruth warned her something's off at Stonygates. But what? Is it the way Gina flirts with both her husband and her step-uncles? Or is it Edgar's nervous energy, hinting at a past he won't share? Maybe it's the way Louis locks himself in his study, obsessed with his work. Christie masterfully plants these seeds of doubt, making us question everyone. For example, when Miss Marple overhears a cryptic conversation between Gina and Walter. It's just vague enough to make us wonder, is it a lover's spat or something darker? This is classic Christie. Every word, every glance could be a clue. Daughters. We settle into Stonygates. The setting itself becomes a character. The manor's long corridors and heavy curtains feel like they're hiding something. The reform school, with its clanging workshops and troubled boys, adds an edge of unpredictability. Miss Marple, with a knack for noticing what others miss, starts observing. She sees how Carrie Louise's blind faith in people might be her weakness. For instance, when a boy from the school drops a tray in the dining room, everyone laughs except Edgar, who flinches like he's been struck. Why? These little moments are what make this story so gripping. They're the threads Miss Marple will pull to unravel the truth. Let's talk about why this setup works so well for a YouTube audience. The mix of family drama, a creepy setting, and Miss Marple's quiet genius hooks you right away. It's like a puzzle you can't stop solving. If you're loving this dive into Christie's world, hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns of classic mysteries. Comment below. Who do you think is hiding something at Stonygates? In the next chapter, we'll dig into the first big twist of crime that shakes the house and sets Miss Marple on the hunt. Stay tuned for the moment when the mirrors start to crack. Welcome back to our dive into Agatha Christie's They Do It With Mirrors, where every corner of Stonygates hides a secret, and Miss Marple's keen eyes are just starting to peel back the layers. In Chapter 1, we stepped into the eerie world of Stonygates, meeting Carrie Louise, her idealistic husband Lewis, and a cast of family members whose tensions hum like a taut wire. Now, things are about to get darker. In this chapter, we'll explore the first major twist, a shocking act of violence that shakes the house and sets the stage for Miss Marple's investigation. The suspense is ramping up, and the question is, who's pulling the strings? Let's jump in and find out. The chapter opens with a seemingly ordinary evening at Stonygates. The family gathers in the drawing room, the air thick with unspoken grudges. Carrie Louise, ever the gracious host, tries to keep things light. But Miss Marple notices the cracks, Gina's flirtatious glances, Walter's sullen silence, and Edgar's jittery demeanor. Then there's Christian Gulbranson, a surprise visitor and trustee of Lewis's reform school project. His arrival feels ominous, like a storm cloud rolling in. Why is he here unannounced? Miss Marple, sipping her tea, picks up on his guarded tone when he asks to speak privately with Lewis. Something's brewing, and it's not just the tea. Then it happens, a gunshot echoes from Lewis's study. The family freezes, hearts racing. They rush to the scene, only to find a chaotic tableau. Lewis is shaken but unharmed, and Edgar, his assistant, is clutching a revolver, babbling about an accident. The room smells of gunpowder, and a bullet hole scars the wall. But here's where Christie's genius kicks in. At the exact moment of the shot, a commotion erupts elsewhere in the house. A boy from the reform school, one of the delinquents, is caught tampering with a locked door. Coincidence? Miss Marple doesn't think so. She's already noting the details, the angle of the bullet, Edgar's trembling hands, and the way Christian's face pales when he sees the scene. This moment is pure Christie suspense. Was Edgar really trying to harm Lewis, or is he a convenient scapegoat? Why was Christian so quick to leave the room just before the shot? And what about that boy from the school, part of the plot, or just a distraction? The beauty of this setup is how it makes everyone a suspect. For example, Gina's quick defense of Edgar raises eyebrows. Does she know something? Or is it just her impulsive nature? Miss Marple, ever the observer, files away these clues, her mind already spinning theories. The house feels alive with secrets, its mirrors reflecting distorted truths. Let's break down why this chapter hooks a YouTube audience. The gunshot is a jolt, a classic whodunit moment that demands answers. Christie's pacing keeps you glued. Every character's reaction adds a layer to the mystery. Picture it. The camera zooms in on Miss Marple's calm, piercing gaze as chaos erupts around her. It's a visual feast for a video script, blending suspense with character drama. If you're as gripped by this twist as I am, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment. Who do you think fired the shot and why? In the next chapter, we'll dig into the fallout, new clues, new suspects, and a chilling realization that the danger is far from over. Keep watching, because the mirrors are starting to show their cracks. The gunshot at Stonygates still echoes in our ears, its shockwave rippling through the manor's heavy air. Miss Marple, with her quiet demeanor and razor-sharp mind, is already piecing together the fragments of this mystery. The bullet hole in Lewis's study wall, Edgar's trembling grip on the revolver, and a convenient distraction of a delinquent boy caught tampering with a door. It's all too neat, too staged. Now, as the family grapples with the near miss, a darker turn awaits. In this chapter, the stakes skyrocket with a chilling discovery, a murder. Let's dive into the heart of They Do It With Mirrors, where every reflection distorts the truth. and Miss Marple's suspicions deepen. The morning after the gunshot, Stonygates feels like a house holding its breath. The family gathers for breakfast, but the mood is strained. Carrie Louise, frail yet optimistic, tries to soothe everyone, but her efforts falter. Gina's eyes are red as if she's been crying. Walter slouches, avoiding her gaze. Mildred, Carrie Louise's daughter, mutters about bad influences in the house, her stare lingering on Edgar. Louis, meanwhile, is distracted, his reformer's zeal dimmed by the previous night's chaos. Christian Gulbranson, the trustee, is oddly silent, his face drawn. Miss Marple, knitting in a corner, watches it all, her needles clicking like a metronome counting down to disaster. Then the bombshell drops. Christian, who had slipped away to his room after the gunshot incident, is found dead. His body lies, slumped in an armchair, a glass of spilled brandy on the table beside him. The doctor, summoned in haste, confirms poisoning. Something swift and deadly slipped into his drink. The room buzzes with shock, but Miss Marple's mind is racing. Poison is personal, deliberate. Whoever did this knew Christian's habits, had access to his private space. The timing is no accident either. His death comes hours after the gunshot in Lewis's study. Are the two events linked, or is someone playing a clever game of misdirection? Christie's genius shines here, piling on questions without answers, keeping us on edge. Let's unpack the suspects. Edgar, already shaken from the gunshot fiasco, looks guiltier by the minute. He was seen near Christian's room earlier, delivering papers, but his nervous, almost pathetic demeanor makes you wonder, is he a killer or a pawn? Then there's Gina, whose emotional outburst at breakfast hints at more than grief. Did she know Christian was onto something? Walter, her husband, is surly and distant, his American bluntness clashing with the family's polished facade. Could he have a motive tied to Gina's flirtations with Stephen and Alex, the theatrical stepsons? Speaking of them, Stephen's intense stare and Alex's cryptic comments about staging feel like clues disguised as quirks. Even Mildred, with her prim disapproval, seems to hide a grudge deep enough to kill for, and Lewis's obsession with the reform school might mask a darker agenda. Christie scatters these red herrings like breadcrumbs, daring us to follow. The setting amplifies the suspense. Stonygates, with its maze of corridors and shadowed rooms, feels like a trap. The reform school boys milling about. At an unpredictable edge, one of them was caught near the crime scene last night. After all, Miss Marple, ever observant, notices a detail. Christian's brandy glass has a faint smudge, like a fingerprint, but the police overlook it in their rush. She also recalls a conversation where Christian hinted at financial irregularities in the school's funding. Was he about to expose someone? The mirrors in the title start to make sense. Every clue reflects something else, distorting reality. For example, when Miss Marple passes a hall mirror, she sees Gina and Stephen in a heated whisper, but their reflections vanish when she turns. It's a subtle, creepy touch that keeps the tension high. This chapter's pacing is a masterclass in suspense. The murder shifts the story from a near miss to a full-blown whodunit, and Christie keeps us guessing with every interaction. Picture this for a YouTube video, a close-up of Christian's lifeless hand. The camera panning to Miss Marple's calm, calculating eyes as the family panics. It's cinematic, gripping, and perfect for keeping viewers hooked. The mystery is thickening and every character's a suspect. If you're loving this unraveling, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Comment below, who do you think poisoned Christian, and how does it tie to the gunshot? In the next chapter, Miss Marple starts digging deeper, uncovering a clue that flips the case wide open. Stay with us, the mirrors are hiding more than you think. The air at Stonygates is thick with fear and suspicion, the echo of Christian Gulbranson's murder lingering like a ghost in the manor's shadowed halls. Miss Marple, with her unassuming presence and piercing intellect, is quietly weaving together the threads of this mystery. The gunshot in Lewis's study and Christian's poisoning are no coincidence. Someone at Stonygates is playing a deadly game, and the mirrors of deception are everywhere. In this chapter, Miss Marple takes her first bold steps into the investigation, uncovering a crucial clue that shifts the case and deepens the suspense. The family's facades are cracking, and every glance, every word could hide a killer. Let's step deeper into the web of They Do It with mirrors and see what secrets come to light. The day after Christian's death, Stonygates is a house divided. The police are swarming, questioning everyone, but their focus is narrow Edgar. With his shaky alibi and nervous demeanor, is their prime suspect. The family, meanwhile, is unraveling. Carrie Louise, fragile and heartbroken, clings to her belief in the goodness of those around her, but even she seems shaken. Gina, usually vibrant, is subdued, her eyes darting between Walter and Stephen. As if caught in a tug-of-war, Walter's sullen silence grows heavier, his hands stuffed in his pockets like he's hiding something. Mildred, Carrie Louise's daughter, is openly hostile, muttering about outsiders ruining the family. Lewis, ever the reformer, buries himself in work, but his calm feels forced. Stephen and Alex, the theatrical stepsons, drift through. The house with cryptic smiles, their stagecraft adding an eerie layer to the tension. Miss Marple, knitting quietly in the drawing room, misses nothing. Her eyes, sharp behind her gentle smile, catch every flinch, every whispered aside. The suspense builds as Miss Marple begins her subtle investigation. She's not a detective in the traditional sense. No magnifying glass or trench coat, but her knack for human nature is her weapon. She starts by chatting with Carrie Louise, her old friend, under the guise of catching up over tea. Carrie Louise lets slip that Christian was worried about her safety, though she dismissed it as nonsense. Miss Marple presses gently, learning that Christian had been auditing the reform school's finances before his death. Was he onto something a financial scandal could point to Lewis, whose entire life revolves around the school, or even Edgar, his loyal but unstable assistant? The plot thickens when Miss Marple overhears a tense exchange between Gina and Stephen in the garden. Gina snaps, "You should have stayed out of it," while Stephen hisses, "It's too late now." What are they hiding? The ambiguity is maddening, and Christie's pacing keeps us on edge, dangling clues just out of reach. Then comes the chapter's pivotal moment. Miss Marple finds a clue that changes everything. While strolling through the manor's library, she notices a book out of place, a ledger tucked among novels. Its pages marked with cryptic notes in Christian's handwriting. The notes hint at missing funds, siphoned from the reform school's budget, and a name scrawled in the margin, Sericold. Lewis or someone framing him. The ledger is a bombshell, suggesting Christian was killed to silence his discovery. But here's where Christie's mirror motif kicks in. The clue could be a reflection, a deliberate plant to mislead. Miss Marple, ever cautious, doesn't jump to conclusions. She tucks the ledger away, knowing it's a piece of the puzzle but not the whole picture. The discovery raises the stakes. Someone in the house is desperate to keep their secrets buried, and they're willing to kill again. The cast of suspects grows murkier. Edgar's nervous energy makes him an easy target, but his fear feels too raw, too genuine. Could he be a scapegoat? Gina's emotional swings suggest she knows more than she's letting on. Her loyalty to Edgar is fierce. But why? Walter, her husband, is a wild card. His outsider status and quiet resentment make him unpredictable. Stephen and Alex, with their theatrical flair, seem to thrive on the chaos, their every move calculated like a performance. Mildred's bitterness toward the reform school and anyone tied to it hints at a deeper grudge. Even Carrie Louise, with her blind trust, might be hiding something, though Miss Marple can't believe her friend is involved. The reform school itself adds another layer of suspense. The boys, with their troubled pasts, are a constant presence, their footsteps echoing in the halls. One of them, a lanky teen named Ernie, was seen near Christian's room the night of the murder. Was he involved, or just another distraction? Christie's genius lies in how she uses the setting to amplify the tension. Stonygates, with its creaking, floors and mirrored walls, feels like a maze designed to confuse. The reform school's workshops, filled with tools and noise, are a perfect cover for foul play. Miss Marple notices a mirror in the hall reflecting the study door. Could someone have used it to watch their target? The title's metaphor is coming into focus. Every clue is a reflection, showing part of the truth but distorting the rest. For example, when Miss Marple passes a mirrored cabinet, she catches a glimpse of Alex adjusting his tie, his smile to sharp, to knowing. It's a fleeting moment, but it plants a seed of doubt. These subtle touches make the story a visual goldmine for a YouTube script. Imagine a slow pan across the manor's eerie mirrors, each one hiding a secret. This chapter's suspense is relentless. The ledger is a game changer, but it raises more questions than answers. Who planted it? Who's lying and who's next? Miss Marple's calm, methodical approach contrasts with the family's growing panic, making her the anchor in this storm of deception. For a YouTube audience, this moment is electric. Picture the camera lingering on the ledger's scrawled notes, then cutting to Miss Marple's thoughtful gaze. It's a cliffhanger that demands you keep watching. If you're hooked on this mystery, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Comment below. Do you think the ledger points to Lewis, or is it a clever misdirection? In the next chapter, Miss Marple follows the money trail, and another shock rocks Stonygates. Stay tuned. The truth is closer, but the mirrors are still playing tricks. The ledger's cryptic notes, hidden in Stonygates' library, have ignited a spark in Miss Marple's sharp mind. Christian Gulbranson's murder, the gunshot aimed at Lewis, and now whispers of missing funds from the reform school will point to a conspiracy buried deep in this creaking manor. The mirrors, if they do it with mirrors, reflect half-truths, and every step Miss Marple takes feels like navigating a maze of deceit. In this chapter, she follows the money trail, peeling back layers of suspicion to reveal motives that cut like a knife. But just as the puzzle starts to take shape, another shock rattles Stonygates, tightening the noose around the killer's neck. Or is it a trap? Let's dive into the heart of Agatha Christie's twisting tale, where greed and betrayal lurk. Behind every smile, Stonygates is a pressure cooker, its inhabitants tiptoeing around each other as the police dig into Christian's poisoning. The ledger, with its hint of financial fraud and the name Sericold scrawled in the margin, has Miss Marple's attention. She's no accountant, but she knows people and people kill for money. The reform school, Lewis's pride and joy, is funded by Carrie Louise's vast inheritance, a fortune that's drawn vultures before. Miss Marple, ever discreet, begins probing, using her knack for casual conversation to unearth clues. Over a quiet lunch, she chats with Mildred, Carrie Louise's dour daughter, who lets slip that the school's budget has always been murky. Mildred's resentment is palpable. She feels cheated of her mother's wealth, funneled into Lewis's pet project. Is her bitterness deep enough to kill? The suspense escalates as Miss Marple digs deeper. She corners Lewis in his study, asking innocent questions about the school's operations. Lewis, usually composed, fidgets when she mentions Christian's audit. He insists everything's above board, but his eyes betray a flicker of unease. Miss Marple notes his reaction, filing it away. Later, she befriends one of the reform school boys, Ernie, The lanky teen spotted near Christian's room the night of the murder. Ernie's cagey but talkative, hinting that somebody in the house pays the boys for odd jobs like delivering secret notes. Could Ernie have been an unwitting pawn in Christian's death? The boy's nervous glance toward the manor suggests he knows more than he's saying. Christie's pacing is relentless here, each conversation a breadcrumb leading to a darker truth. Then comes the chapter's bombshell. Miss Marple uncovers a second clue tied to the money trail. While helping Carrie Louise sort old letters in her sitting room, she finds a bank statement tucked inside a book recent and not meant to be seen. It shows large, unexplained withdrawals from Carrie Louise's trust signed off by Lewis. The amounts match the missing funds Christian was investigating. Miss Marple's heart sinks. Could Lewis, the idealistic reformer, be embezzling his wife's fortune? Or is he being framed? The statement is a mirror, reflecting a truth that's either damning or deceptive. Christie's genius lies in this ambiguity. The clue seems to point straight at Lewis, but Miss Marple knows better than to trust appearances. She recalls a village scandal back in St. Mary Mead, where forged documents fooled everyone until she spotted the flaw. Here, the bank statement's ink looks too fresh to perfect. A plant, perhaps? The suspects are a tangled web. Lewis, with his obsessive focus on the school, has the most to lose if Christian exposed fraud. But his love for Carrie Louise seems genuine. Would he betray her, Edgar, Lewis's assistant? Is a nervous wreck, his loyalty to Lewis bordering on fanaticism? Could he have killed to protect his boss, or is he hiding his own scheme? Gina, vibrant but volatile, has been acting strange. Her fierce defense of Edgar and her strained marriage to Walter suggest she's caught in something bigger. Walter, the outsider, is a dark horse. His quiet resentment and late-night prowls around the manor make him unpredictable. Stephen and Alex, the theatrical stepsons, are too smooth, their every word sounding rehearsed. Their stagecraft, Alex's love of lighting tricks. Stephen's knack for drama feels like a clue itself. Could they be orchestrating this chaos like a play? Mildred's greed is obvious, but her prim demeanor hides a ruthless streak. Even the reform school boys, like Ernie, add an edge of danger. Any one of them could be a hired hand. The setting keeps the tension taut. Stonygates mirrored halls, and heavy curtains create a claustrophobic atmosphere. Every reflection a potential threat. The reform school's workshops with their clanging tools are a perfect cover for foul play. Miss Marple wonders if poison could have been mixed there. A chilling moment comes when she passes a large mirror in the dining room and sees Walter's reflection standing motionless, watching her. When she turns, he's gone. It's a classic Christie touch, using the title's mirrors to blur reality and illusion. The manor feels alive, its secrets pulsing in every shadow. For a YouTube audience, this is visual dynamite. Imagine a slow zoom on the bank statement, then a cut to Miss Marple's thoughtful frown. The mirror behind her reflecting an empty room dark just as Miss Marple pieces this together. Another shock hits. Late that night, a scream pierces the manor. The family rushes to the reform school's workshop where Ernie, the boy Miss Marple spoke to, lies crumpled, his head bloodied from a fall or a blow. He's alive, barely, muttering about a man in the shadows before passing out. The police swarm again, but Miss Marple's mind is racing. Was Ernie attacked to silence him? His talk of secret notes and payments suggests he saw something or someone. The attack feels staged, like the gunshot in Lewis's study, designed to confuse. Christie piles on the suspense, making every character a suspect. Was it Walter, desperate to cover his secrets? Stephen or Alex, using their theatrical skills to create another diversion? Or someone else? Hiding behind the mirrors, this chapter's suspense is a relentless crescendo. The bank statement and Ernie's attack are high-stakes turning points. each clue reflecting a piece of the puzzle. Miss Marple's calm and methodical approach contrasts with the family's panic, her quiet questions cutting through the deception. For a YouTube script, this is pure gold. Picture the camera lingering on Ernie's bloodied face, then panning to a shattered mirror in the workshop, reflecting the fractured truth. It's a cliffhanger that demands you keep watching. If you're gripped by this mystery, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment below. Do you think attacked Ernie, and is Lewis guilty or framed? Drop a comment below. In our next chapter, Miss Marple will confront a key suspect, and the mirrors start to reveal a chilling pattern. Stay tuned, the killer's mask is slipping away. Stonygates is a house of shattered illusions, its mirrored halls reflecting fear and betrayal. The ledger's cryptic notes and a suspicious bank statement point to a financial conspiracy, while young Ernie's attack in the reform school workshop has tightened a web of suspicion. Miss Marple, with her quiet wisdom, is closing in, her sharp eyes catching every flicker of deceit. The gunshot in Lewis's study, Christian Gulbranson's poisoning, and now Ernie's bloodied collapse. Each event feels like a piece of a carefully staged performance. In this chapter, Miss Marple confronts a key suspect, peeling back a layer of the killer's mask. But as the truth glimmers, a new twist deepens the mystery, proving that they do it with mirrors, nothing is ever what it seems. Let's step into the shadows and see who flinches. The manor is restless, its inhabitants haunted by the recent attack on Ernie. The police are doubling down, questioning the reform school boys and combing the workshop for clues. Ernie, recovering but shaken, sticks to his story of a man in the shadows, but his fear makes him unreliable. The family is fraying at the edges. Carrie Louise, pale and fragile, clings to her optimism, insisting no one in her home could be a killer. Lewis buries himself in work, his reformer's zeal now tinged with paranoia. Gina's emotional swings are sharper, her glances at Walter and Stephen charged with unspoken accusations. Walter, sullen and withdrawn, prowls the halls. At odd hours, while Stephen and Alex, the theatrical stepsons, seem almost to calm, their smiles like masks. Mildred's bitter remarks grow venomous, targeting everyone from Edgar to the reform school itself. Miss Marple, knitting by the fire, watches it all, her mind piecing together the puzzle. Miss Marple decides it's time to act. She zeroes in on Edgar, Lewis's nervous assistant, whose shaky demeanor and flimsy alibi make him the police's favorite suspect. She finds him in the library, sorting papers with trembling hands. Under the guise of asking about the reform school, she probes. Gently, her questions deceptively soft. Edgar stammers, admitting he delivered papers to Christian the night of the murder, but swears he saw nothing. Suspicious, yet his eyes dart to a mirror on the wall, as if expecting to see someone watching. Miss Marple presses further, mentioning the ledger's notes about missing funds. Edgar's face drains of color, and he blurts, "It wasn't me. I only did what I was told." Before she can dig deeper, he bolts from the room, leaving a crumpled note behind. The note, scrawled in hasty ink, reads, "Meet me at the Folly. Midnight." No signature, but the handwriting matches the ledger's. Is Edgar working for someone or running from them? This confrontation is a turning point. Edgar's panic suggests he's a pawn, not a mastermind, but his cryptic note opens. New questions. The Folly, a crumbling gazebo on the estate, is an odd place for a secret meeting isolated, overgrown and perfect for foul play. Miss Marple tucks the note away, knowing it's a lead but wary of its implications. Christie's suspense shines. Here, using Edgar's fear to muddy the waters. Is he a victim, a culprit, or both? The mirrors of the title come into play again. Edgar's reflection in the library mirror seemed to tremble. as if betraying a truth he can't voice. Miss Marple recalls a similar case in St. Mary Mead, where a nervous servant's confession unraveled a theft ring. Here, though, the stakes are higher murder, not petty crime. The suspect pool is a tangle of motives. Lewis, tied to the suspicious bank statement, has the most to lose if the school's finances are exposed. His devotion to Carrie Louise feels genuine, but could it mask greed? Gina's loyalty to Edgar is puzzling her emotional defensive. Him hints at a deeper connection, perhaps a secret they share. Walter's brooding silence and nighttime wanderings make him a wild card. Was he the man in the shadows Ernie saw? Stephen and Alex, with their theatrical flair, are masters of misdirection. Alex's obsession with stage lighting feels particularly suspicious. Given the staged nature of the crimes, Mildred's resentment of the school and its drain on her. Mother's fortune gives her a clear motive, but her prim exterior makes her hard to read. Even Carrie Louise, with her blind trust, might know more than she lets on, though Miss Marple can't bear to suspect her friend. Then comes the chapter's bombshell, a new twist that shakes the case. Late that evening, as Miss Marple lingers in the drawing room, she overhears a heated argument between Stephen and Alex behind a closed door. Stephen hisses, "You went too far with the lights," while Alex snaps, "It had to look real." The words are vague but chilling, suggesting a staged event, perhaps the gunshot in Lewis's study or Ernie's attack. Miss Marple, hidden by a heavy curtain, listens as their voices drop to whispers, mentioning the plan and keeping her out of it. Gina. Carrie Louise? The conversation ends abruptly when Walter storms in, accusing Stephen of messing with my wife. A scuffle breaks out, and Miss Marple slips away, her heart racing. The brothers talk of lights ties to the title's mirrors. Could they be staging crimes? Like a theatrical production, using light and shadow to deceive. The setting keeps the suspense razor sharp. Stonygates' mirrored corridors and dim rooms feel like a stage set for betrayal. The folly, where Edgar's note suggests a midnight meeting, looms in the story like a dark promise. The reform school's workshops, with their clanging tools and restless boys. At a chaotic edge, any one of them could be a hired hand. A chilling moment comes when Miss Marple passes a large hall mirror and sees a fleeting shadow move behind her. But when she turns, the corridor is empty. It's a classic Christie touch, using mirrors to blur reality and heighten dread. For a YouTube audience, this is cinematic gold. Imagine a shot of Edgar's panicked face reflected in the library. Mirror. Then a cut to the dark, overgrown folly under moonlight, its shadows hiding a threat. This chapter's tension is electric. Edgar's confrontation and the overheard argument are twin shocks, each peeling back a layer of the mystery while adding new questions. Miss Marple's quiet resolve anchors the chaos, her mind racing to connect the dots. The mirrors are everywhere, literal and metaphorical, reflecting distorted truths. Picture this for a video. The camera zooms on the crumpled note in Miss Marple's hand, then pans to the follies silhouette against a stormy sky. It's a cliffhanger that screams for answers. If you're hooked on this twisting tale, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Comment below who's meeting at the folly, and what's Stephen and Alex's plan in the next chapter. Miss Marple ventures into the night, and the killer's game takes a deadly turn. Stay tuned. The truth is reflecting back, but it's still out of reach. The shadows of Stonygates grow longer, each mirror reflecting a distorted piece of the truth. Miss Marple clutches the crumpled note from Edgar, its words, "Meet me at the folly." Midnight, burning in her mind. Christian Gulbranson's poisoning, the gunshot in Lewis's study, Ernie's attack. And now whispers of a staged plan between Stephen and Alex. It's all part of a deadly performance. The ledger and bank statement hint at financial betrayal, but the killer's motive remains elusive. In this chapter, Miss Marple ventures into the night, following the notes lead to the eerie folly. The suspense tightens as a new revelation threatens to unravel the mystery or plunge it deeper into darkness. Let's follow the trail into the heart of They Do It With Mirrors, where every step could be a trap. The manor is quiet as midnight approaches, its inhabitants locked in there. Rooms are whispering in tense clusters. The police have tightened their grip, patrolling the grounds, but their focus on Edgar feels too easy to neat. Miss Marple, ever the unassuming sleuth, knows the real killer is hiding behind a carefully crafted facade. The family is fracturing. Carrie Louise, pale and withdrawn, seems to sense the danger closing in. Gina's eyes are wild, torn between loyalty to Walter and something unspoken with Edgar. Walter's brooding presence is a storm cloud, his late-night wanderings raising suspicion. Stephen and Alex, with their theatrical poise, move through, the house like actors waiting for their cue. Mildred's sharp tongue lashes out, blaming the reform school for every tragedy. Lewis, meanwhile, is a ghost, his reformer's passion dimmed by fear or guilt. Miss Marple, her knitting abandoned, prepares to slip out to the folly. Her heart steady, but her senses alert. The folly, a crumbling gazebo overgrown with ivy, sits at the edge of the estate, its isolation perfect for secrets. Miss Marple, wrapped in a shawl against the chilly night, moves silently through the gardens. The air is thick with tension, the moon casting jagged shadows. She recalls a case in St. Mary Mead where a midnight meeting unmasked a blackmailer. But this feels more dangerous. The note's handwriting, matching the ledgers, suggests a connection to the financial fraud Christian was investigating. Is Edgar luring her into a trap, or is he the one in danger? As she nears the folly, she hears a rustle in the bushes, a footstep, or just the wind. Christie's suspense is masterful here, turning every sound into a potential threat. The mirrors of the title linger in her mind. Could the folly's reflective windows hide a watcher? Inside the folly, Miss Marple finds Edgar, his face gaunt under the moonlight. He's a wreck, his eyes darting as he whispers, "I didn't kill Christian, I swear. It's all part of the show." Before he can explain, a noise of sharp crack cuts through the silence. Edgar bolts, vanishing into the darkness. Miss Marple, heart pounding, spots a glint in the folly's broken window, a reflection of someone moving outside. Too quick to identify, she retreats, her mind racing. Edgar's words, the show, echo Stephen and Alex's cryptic talk of lights and plans. Are the brothers staging the crimes like a theatrical production, using the manor's mirrors and shadows to deceive? The folly, with its cracked glass and tangled vines, feels like the heart of the conspiracy, a stage for the killer's next act. Back at the manor, the chapter's bombshell hits. Miss Marple, shaken but resolute, returns to find the house in chaos. A scream has drawn the family to the drawing room, where Gina stands over a shattered mirror, her hands trembling. She claims she saw a face in the glass, not her own, but someone watching her. The police dismiss it as nerves, but Miss Marple notices a detail. The mirror's shards are scattered inward, as if broken from the outside. Was someone spying, or was the mirror smashed to hide evidence? Gina's story feels rehearsed. Her tears too quick. Miss Marple recalls Gina's fierce defense of Edgar and her tense exchanges with Stephen. Is she part of the show, or a victim of it? The broken mirror is a literal and symbolic crack in the killer's facade, reflecting a truth that's almost within reach. The suspects are a maze of motives. Edgar's panic at the folly suggests he's a pawn, not the mastermind, but his knowledge makes him a target. Gina's emotional volatility and cryptic behavior hint at a secret, perhaps a romantic entanglement with Edgar or Stephen, fueling Walter's jealousy. Walter's nighttime prowls align with the shadow Ernie saw. Could he be the killer? Driven by betrayal, Stephen and Alex, with their stagecraft expertise, are prime suspects for orchestrating a show Alex's lighting tricks could explain. The staged gunshot, while Stephen's charm hides a calculating mind. Mildred's greed for her mother's fortune is a clear motive, but her bluntness feels too obvious. Lewis, tied to the bank statement, remains a question mark his love for. Carrie Louise clashes with the evidence of fraud. Even the reform school boys, like Ernie, could be unwitting tools paid to create distractions. The setting is a character in itself, amplifying the dread. Stonygates' mirrored halls and dark corners feel like a labyrinth, each reflectioner. Potential lie, the folly with its broken windows and eerie isolation, is a perfect stage for Christie's suspense. A chilling moment comes when Miss Marple, leaving the folly, sees her own reflection in a pond, distorted by ripples into something sinister. It's a visual nod to the title, blurring truth and illusion. For a YouTube audience, this chapter is a visual feast. Imagine a shot of the moonlit folly, its cracked glass catching a fleeting shadow. Then cutting to the shattered mirror in the drawing room, Gina's pale face framed by the shards. It's pure suspense, pulling viewers deeper into the mystery. This chapter's tension is a masterstroke. Edgar's cryptic confession, the folly's eerie ambush, and the broken mirror pile on the stakes, each clue reflecting a piece of the puzzle. Miss Marple's calm resolve contrasts with the family's panic, her mind sifting through the distortions. Picture this for a video. The camera lingers on the notes' scrawled words, then zooms to the folly's dark silhouette, a shadow flickering. In its glass, it's a cliffhanger that demands answers. If you're gripped by this twisting tale, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Comment below who was in the folly's shadows and what's Gina hiding in the next chapter. Miss Marple uncovers a hidden connection between the crimes, and the killer makes a bold move. Stay tuned, the mirrors are starting to clear, but the danger is closer than ever. The shattered mirror in the drawing room lies in pieces, much like the fragile trust within Stonygates. Miss Marple's midnight venture to the folly uncovered Edgar's panicked claim of a show, and Gina's tale of a mysterious face-in. The glass has deepened the mystery. Christian Gulbranson's poisoning, the gunshot in Lewis's study, Ernie's attack, and the trail of financial fraud all point to a killer hiding behind a web of illusions. The mirrors of They Do It with Mirrors reflect distorted truths, but Miss Marple's sharp mind is cutting through the haze. In this chapter, she uncovers a hidden connection linking the crimes, while the killer makes a bold move that threatens to unravel everything or tighten the noose. Let's step closer to the truth in Agatha Christie's gripping tale, where every reflection hides a danger. The manor is a cauldron of tension, its inhabitants caught in a dance of suspicion. The police, still focused on Edgar, are combing the folly for clues, but their heavy-handed approach misses the subtleties Miss Marple sees. Carrie Louise, frail and heartsick, retreats into silence, her faith in her family shaken. Gina, volatile as ever, swings between defiance and fear, her cryptic glances at Stephen and Walter fueling speculation. Walter's brooding presence grows darker, his late-night prowls now under police scrutiny. Stephen and Alex, with their theatrical calm, seem to revel in the chaos, their cryptic talk of lights and plans echoing in Miss Marple's mind. Mildred's venomous remarks target everyone, her greed for her mother's fortune barely concealed. Lewis, tied to the suspicious bank statement, is a shadow of his reformer self, his eyes haunted. Miss Marple, knitting quietly in a corner, watches it all, her mind tracing patterns others overlook. Miss Marple's investigation takes a subtle turn. She revisits the drawing room, examining the shattered mirror's frame. A tiny scratch on the wood catches her eye, marked too precise to be accidental, as if someone tampered with the mirror before it broke. Recalling Alex's obsession with stage lighting, she wonders Was the mirror rigged to create an illusion, like Gina's face in the glass? She then slips into the reform school's office where she finds a ledger page tucked in a drawer, overlooked by the police. It lists payments to a consultant named AR, initials that could point to Alex Rostaric, the theatrical stepson. The payments, small but frequent, align with the missing funds Christian was investigating. Is Alex siphoning money, or is this another misdirection? Miss Marple's village instincts kick in. She remembers a local swindler who used fake invoices to cover theft. Here, the ledger page feels like a mirror, reflecting a partial truth. The chapter's heart is a revelation that ties the crimes together. Miss Marple, piecing together Edgar's talk of a show, the staged gunshot, and the mirror's role, realizes the crimes are orchestrated like a performance. The gunshot in Lewis's study wasn't meant to kill, it was a distraction, timed with the reform school boys tampering to draw attention away from Christian's poisoning. Ernie's attack, too, feels staged, his man in the shadows a shadowy figure meant to confuse. The broken mirror, with its convenient face, was likely a trick of light, orchestrated by someone with theatrical skill, Alex, perhaps, or Stephen. The financial fraud ties it all together. Someone is stealing from Carrie Louise's fortune, and Christian's audit threatened to expose them. The killer's show uses Stonygates mirrors and shadows to hide their tracks, but Miss Marple sees the pattern. The initials A point to Alex, but she's worried Christie's killers are rarely so obvious. Then, the killer makes a bold move. Late that afternoon, as the family gathers for tea, a fire breaks out in the reform school's workshop. Flames lick the walls and smoke billows, sending everyone into a panic. The police and family rush to help, but Miss Marple notices something odd. The fire is contained almost neatly, destroying a stack of financial records. Lewis, frantic, claims it was an accident, a spark from a tool, but Miss Marple spots a can of kerosene nearby. It's cap loose. The fire feels deliberate, a desperate act to erase evidence of the fraud. As the flames are doused, she catches Alex watching from a distance, his face unreadable. Was he covering his tracks, or someone else's? The timing right after her discovery of the ledger page feels like a warning. The killer knows someone's closing in. The suspects are a labyrinth of motives. Alex, with his lighting expertise and possible link to their payments, is a prime candidate for orchestrating the show. Stephen, his brother, shares his theatrical flair and could be a partner or a rival. Gina's emotional ties to Edgar and Stephen suggest she's entangled in the plot, perhaps unwittingly. Walter's jealousy and nighttime wanderings make him a threat, especially if he suspects Gina's loyalties. Mildred's greed is a clear motive, but her bluntness feels too obvious. For Christie's subtle style, Lewis, linked to the bank statement, could be a mastermind hiding behind his reformer's mask, though his love for Carrie Louise seems real. Edgar, terrified and erratic, might be a pawn or a clever actor. The reform school boys, like Ernie, remain wild cards, their loyalty easily bought. Stonygates' setting keeps the suspense razor sharp. The manor's mirrored halls reflect every glance, every lie, creating a claustrophobic maze. The workshop, now charred, is a stark reminder of the killer's desperation. A chilling moment comes when Miss Marple passes a hall mirror and sees a flicker of movement, a shadow that vanishes when she turns. It's a classic Christie touch, using the titles, mirrors to blur reality and dread. For a YouTube audience, this chapter is visual dynamite. Imagine a shot of the workshop's flames, the camera panning to the kerosene can, then cutting to Miss Marple's steady gaze as smoke curls around her. It's a heart-pounding moment that demands answers. This chapter's tension is relentless. The ledger page and the fire are twin shocks, each revealing a piece of the killer's plan while raising new questions. Miss Marple's quiet logic cuts through the chaos, her village wisdom unraveling the show. Picture this for a video. The camera zooms on the ledger's AR initials, then shifts to the burning workshop, flames reflected in a nearby mirror. It's a cliffhanger that pulls you deeper. If you're hooked on this mystery, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Comment below, is Alex the mastermind? Or is the fire another misdirection? In the next chapter, Miss Marple sets a trap and the killer's identity begins to emerge. Stay tuned, the mirrors are clearing, but the danger is at its peak. The acrid smell of smoke lingers in Stonygates, a grim reminder of the fire that devoured the Reform School's records. Miss Marple's discovery of the ledger page marked AR, and the orchestrated chaos of the gunshot, Christian's poisoning, Ernie's attack, and now the blaze point to a killer staging a deadly performance. The mirrors of They Do It with Mirrors reflect a tangled web of lies. But Miss Marple's keen mind is closing in. Alex's theatrical flair, Lewis's suspicious bank records, Gina's volatile loyalties, and Edgar's panicked hints of a show all swirl in her thoughts. In this chapter, Miss Marple sets a trap to catch the killer, but a heart-stopping twist pushes the mystery to its breaking point. Let's step into the final act of Agatha Christie's chilling tale, where the truth is almost in reach and more dangerous than ever. The manor is a powder keg, its inhabitants teetering on the edge of panic, the police frustrated by the fires, destruction of evidence, double down on Edgar. But Miss Marple knows the real culprit is hiding in plain sight. Carrie Louise, frail and heartsick, withdraws further, her blind trust in her family crumbling. Gina's emotions are a storm, her fierce defense of Edgar clashes with her strained glances at Walter. And Stephen. Walter's brooding silences, a ticking bomb, his late-night prowls now shadowed by police suspicion. Stephen and Alex, with their stage-ready comm, seem to orchestrate the chaos. Their cryptic talk of lights and plans haunting Miss Marple. Mildred's venomous accusations grow sharper, targeting the Reform School and anyone tied to it. Lewis, linked to the missing funds, is a ghost of himself, his reformer's zeal buried under fear. Miss Marple, her knitting a quiet facade, weaves her plan, her eyes missing nothing. Miss Marple's trap is simple but bold. She spreads a rumor through Carrie Louise, knowing it will ripple through the house. She confides that she's found new evidence in Christian's rumor letter that names the killer, and plans to hand it to the police tomorrow. The letter doesn't exist, but the lie is bait. She plants the story carefully, ensuring everyone overhears. Lewis during a quiet chat, Gina in the drawing room, Walter in the hall. Stephen and Alex over tea, Mildred in the garden, and even Edgar, who flinches at the mention. Miss Marple knows the killer will act to protect their secret, and she's ready to watch. She recalls a St. Marymead case where a similar ruse flushed. Out a thief this time, the stakes are murder. The manor's mirrors, reflecting every nervous glance, become her allies, amplifying the tension. The suspense builds as the day unfolds. Miss Marple lingers in Christian's room, pretending to search for the letter, her senses alert. She notices a mirror angled oddly, reflecting the hallway outside, a perfect vantage point for a watcher. The house feels alive with secrets, every creak a potential threat. She catches Gina whispering to Edgar in the library, her voice urgent. "You have to trust me." Walter, passing by, clenches his fists, his jealousy palpable. Stephen and Alex, rehearsing lines for a play, linger near the study, their laughter too sharp. Mildred, pruning roses in the garden, mutters about justice with a chilling edge. Lewis, locking his study door, avoids Miss Marple's gaze. The trap is set, but the killer's next move is anyone's guess. Christie's pacing is relentless, each moment a step closer to a confrontation. Then comes the chapter's bombshell. That night, as Miss Marple sits in her room, A soft knock interrupts her thoughts. It's Gina, pale and trembling, claiming she's found a vial of poison hidden in the reform school's workshop, tucked behind a mirror. The vial, small and nearly empty, matches the type used to kill Christian. Gina swears she stumbled on it by chance, but her eyes dart nervously and her story feels rehearsed. Miss Marple's heart races. Is Gina delivering a clue, or planting one to throw suspicion elsewhere? The vial is a mirror, reflecting either truth or deception. As they speak, a shadow moves outside the window, caught in the glass's reflection. Miss Marple turns, but no one's there. The moment is pure Christie, blurring reality and illusion, leaving us questioning Gina's role: victim, accomplice, or killer. The suspects are a maze of contradictions. Gina's discovery of the vial could clear her or damn her. Her ties to Edgar and Stephen, and her crumbling marriage to Walter, suggest she's caught in the show. Alex with his lighting tricks, and AR initials in the ledger, seems the mastermind, but his charm feels too obvious. Stephen's theatrical poise hides a calculating mind. Could he be pulling Alex's strings? Walter's jealousy and prowls make him a threat, especially if he suspects Gina's loyalties. Mildred's greed and hatred of the school give her motive, but her bluntness feels like a mask. Lewis, tied to the bank statement, could be a fraudster hiding behind his ideals, though his love for Carrie Louise seems real. Edgar, terrified and erratic, might be a pawn or a brilliant actor. The reform school boys, like Ernie, remain wild cards, their loyalty easily swayed. Stonygates' setting is a pressure cooker. The mirrored halls and shadowed rooms feel like a stage, each reflection a potential lie. The workshop, charred from. The fire is a grim reminder of the killer's desperation. A chilling moment comes when Miss Marple passes a hall mirror and sees her own reflection flicker, as if someone stood behind her. She turns, but the corridor is empty. It's a classic Christie touch, using the title's mirrors to heighten dread. For a YouTube audience, this chapter is cinematic. Imagine a shot of the vial glinting in Gina's trembling hand, then cutting to the shadow in the window's reflection, fleeting and sinister. It's a heart-stopping moment that demands answers. This chapter's tension is a masterclass. The trap and the vial are twin shocks, pushing the mystery toward its climax while deepening the suspense. Miss Marple's quiet cunning contrasts with the family's panic, her trap tightening around the killer. Picture this for a video. The camera zooms on the vial's faint residue, then pans to the mirror's fleeting shadow, Miss Marple's steady gaze anchoring the frame. It's a cliffhanger that screams for resolution. If you're gripped by this twisting tale, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Comment below, is Gina's vial a genuine clue, or another mirror trick in the next chapter? Miss Marple's trap springs and the killer's mask falls at last. Stay tuned, the truth is reflecting back, but it comes at a cost. The trap is set, and Stonygates hums with a deadly tension. Miss Marple's rumor of a letter naming the killer has stirred the hornet's nest, and Gina's discovery of a poison vial in the workshop has cast a shadow of doubt over her. Roll: the gunshot in Lewis's study, Christian Gulbranson's poisoning, Ernie's attack, the charred financial records, and the cryptic ledger marked AR, all are pieces of a theatrical show orchestrated by a cunning killer. The mirrors, if they do it with mirrors, reflect lies. But Miss Marple's sharp mind has cut through the distortions. In this final chapter, her trap springs, unmasking the killer in a heart-stopping climax. But the truth comes at a cost, and the manor's secrets will leave no one untouched. Let's step into the final act of Agatha Christie's masterful mystery, where the mirrors crack and the truth shines through. The morning dawns grey and heavy. Stonygates' mirrored halls silent but charged with dread. The family is on edge, their facades crumbling under the weight of suspicion. Carrie Louise, pale and fragile, sits quietly, her faith in her loved ones shaken. Gina, torn between fear and defiance, avoids Walter's accusing stare. Walter, his jealousy of smouldering fire, clenches his fists, his prowls now watched by the police. Stephen and Alex, their theatrical confraying, exchange guarded glances. Their talk of lights and plans haunting the air, Mildred's bitter rants, have softened to a cold, calculating silence. Lewis, tied to the suspicious bank statement, moves like a man awaiting judgment. Edgar, a nervous wreck, hovers at the edges, his panic palpable. Miss Marple, her knitting set aside, waits for the killer to make their move, her trapper ticking. Clock. The climax unfolds in the drawing room, where Miss Marple gathers the family under the pretense of discussing Christian's letter. The police, skeptical but curious, linger nearby. She speaks calmly, her voice steady, recounting the crimes, the staged gunshot to distract from Christian's poisoning, Ernie's attack to silence his knowledge, the fire to destroy evidence, and the vial to mislead. She reveals the ledgers, AR initials and the bank statement, pointing to financial fraud as the motive. The family shifts uncomfortably. Lewis flinches, Gina gasps, Alex's smile tightens. Miss Marple then drops her bombshell. The letter was a ruse, but it forced the killer's hand. Last night, someone tried to break into her room, their shadow caught in a mirror sheet angled by the door. The room erupts in accusations, but Miss Marple's gaze locks on Alex Rustarig. Alex, the theatrical stepson, is the mastermind. His lighting expertise and stagecraft orchestrated the show, the gunshot, timed with the reform school boy's distraction, the mirror tricks, creating illusions like Gina's face, the fire, erasing his embezzlement. Christian's audit threatened to expose Alex's theft from Kerry Louise's trust, so he poisoned him, using the vial hidden in the workshop. Edgar, his pawn, delivered the poison unknowingly, manipulated by Alex's promises, and his attack was Alex's attempt to silence a witness, and the vial was planted to frame Gina. Deflecting suspicion, the mirrors reflecting light and shadow were his tools, creating a spectacle to hide his crimes. Miss Marple's trap her fake letter pushed, Alex to act his break-in attempt betraying him. But the truth cuts deep. As Alex's charm crumbles, he sneers, admitting his greed but claiming he never meant to hurt Kerry Louise. Gina, devastated, confesses she suspected Alex but protected him out of loyalty. Her tears reel this time. Walter's jealousy was a red herring, his prowls driven by love, not murder. Lewis, cleared of fraud, was a victim of Alex's forged bank statements. Mildred's greed was real but impotent, her bitterness no match for Alex's cunning. Edgar, a broken tool, collapses in relief, his role unwitting. Kerry Louise, heartbroken, realizes her trust blinded her to Alex's betrayal. The police arrest Alex, but the manor feels hollow, its mirrors reflecting a fractured family. The setting seals the suspense. Stonygates' mirrored halls, once a stage for deception, now stand silent, their reflections stark and true. The drawing room's large mirror, cracked from Gina's earlier outburst, frames the climax, its shards glinting as Alex's mask falls. A final, chilling moment comes when Miss Marple glances at the mirror, seeing only her own reflection clear. Unclouded, the truth at last. For a YouTube audience, this is cinematic perfection. Imagine the camera zooming on Alex's cold smile, then panning to the cracked mirror, reflecting the stunned family. It's a resolution that satisfies yet haunts Christie's genius in every frame. This chapter's tension is a masterstroke. The trap's climax, Alex's unmasking, and the family's reckoning tie every clue into a gripping finale. Miss Marple's quiet brilliance shines, her village wisdom unraveling a theatrical crime. Picture this for a video. The camera lingers on the mirror's shards, then cuts to Miss Marple's steady gaze, the truth reflected in her eyes. It's a perfect end to a twisting tale. If you've loved this journey through They Do It With Mirrors, smash that like button and subscribe for more Christie breakdowns. Comment below. Did you guess Alex was the killer, or did the mirrors fool you? Share your thoughts. And let's keep unraveling mysteries together. The mirrors have cracked, but their secrets will linger.